Howard Morton Ziff was his name, so I called him Howie. Howard was larger than life, partly because he was physically imposing. He was big, wide, had a bushy beard. He had a deep voice, kind of a rumbling voice. But he also, I think, was able to capture your attention and your imagination with what he had to say.
Here he is as a baby, his brother and sister.
Born in the tough western Massachusetts mill town of Holyoke, Howard Ziff was the youngest of 3 children. His father owned a curtain company.
He was very interested in philosophy, what can I say? When in Amherst College, he had wonderful teachers, and he really loved it, and he wanted to go on into philosophy. And then he went to Columbia.
Disillusioned, Ziff dropped out of Columbia's graduate studies program to join the Army. The philosopher became a journalist, covering the Korean War for the Pacific Stars and Stripes.
Shel Silverstein was the one who found him, actually, just by looking through the people, and he saw, oh, here's this guy with a graduate degree in philosophy, and well, let's put him on. And it was a very, very nice group. And the community in Stars and Stripes was very much of a community.
In 1958, he moved to the Windy City, and the apprentice became a master journalist on the hurly-burly streets of Chicago.
Kennedy is asking Johnson to call a cab.
It was a city that had just about every problem you can think of other than rural poverty, and had an amazing kind of vitality.
Oh, a wonderful city. Fascinating, the whole in and outs of politics, and it just fascinated him. It was just a matter of feeling your way around what's going on. And in the end, feeling like he knew.
After working with Mike Royko at the renowned City News Bureau of Chicago, Ziff later became night city editor at the Chicago Daily News.
Most of the new reporters at the Chicago Daily News started out in the night shift, and Howard was training them. So he was running a journalism program in the city room as news was breaking, murders were occurring, fires were breaking out, riots were erupting.
Howard Ziff became a Chicago legend and hung out at the local Greasy Spoon, famously parodied by Saturday Night Live.
Cheese. 4 Pepsi, 2 chips. Two Pepsi, 1 chip.
That's a real place called Billy Goat's. And Billy Goat's was the hangout for reporters from the 4 newspapers and the 3 big local TV stations and the local news radio stations. And Howie's portrait, his photograph, is on the wall at Billy Goat's. More than one UMass graduate has made the pilgrimage to Billy Goat's to view Howard's photograph hanging on the wall. Royko's photograph is there. It's kind of a de facto Chicago Journalism Hall of Fame.
In the late 60s, the philosopher, journalist, now Chicago news legend, brought his passion for free speech, great writers, and single malt scotch to teaching at the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Ziff came to UMass Amherst in 1971 with a mandate to build up the journalism program almost from scratch.
I'm nobody special, but I think I'm somebody typical. I came up to UMass as a kid from Malden, not quite knowing what I was going to do, and became smitten with journalism by sitting in Journalism 101 with Howard Ziff. I think there are many of us in this room, and certainly people all over the country, that fit that bill, that our love for journalism was ignited by Howard Ziff.
UMass journalism exploded in the Ziff era, growing from a 15-hour option in English to a department in its own right, with hundreds of students.
And what he managed to do for his students is he demystified the work. He said, get out there, do it, watch, question, write, care about words, care about word choice. Not in a sort of see me write kind of display, but care about word choice. And sometimes, he would say, as has been pointed out, less is more.
He loved his students, the ones who cared about what he was doing. He really loved them and built relationships and advised them about where to go and recommended them. The students were very important to him.
In the 80s, Ziff was also known in the Pioneer Valley as the host of Hollywood Classics, introducing the films aired on WGBY TV.
Last question.
Yeah.
When the kids come in to the Ziff gallery and they see that picture, they say, "Who's that?" What's your short answer?
Well, he's the guy that started all this. You know,